Episode 32, Fractured Defenses. The air crackled with a nervous energy as Alex, Isabella, and Anya huddled around a makeshift map sketched on a whiteboard. Corvus, his face hidden in shadow even in the dim light of the apartment, outlined the layout of the Umbra Temple. "The vault is located deep beneath the sanctum," he rasped, his voice distorted by the cloak. Guarded by magical wards and relentless automatons, fear gnawed at Alex, but he forced himself to focus. This was their best, and possibly their only, chance to stop the fracture. Isabella, ever the strategist, pointed at the map. "We need a distraction, something big enough to draw their attention away from the vault." Anya tapped her chin, eyes narrowed in thought. "Their rituals require specific artifacts. If we can disrupt one," Alex's eyes lit up. "The artifact the creatures were guarding in the abandoned station. Maybe we can use the scepter to amplify a replica, create a false signal strong enough to lure them away." "A good plan," Isabella chimed in, "but creating a replica won't be easy. It requires rare materials and complex engineering." "I can handle the engineering," Isabella said confidently, tapping her tools, "but we'll need the materials." "Corvus, any idea where we can find them?" Corvus shifted uncomfortably. "There's a black market within the city, a haven for those who dabble in forbidden magic." Anya's hand tightened on the ancient book. "The very people we're fighting against." "Desperate times," Alex muttered. "We don't have many options." The following days were a blur of activity. Isabella toiled in her lab, her tools humming a frantic tune as she constructed the replica artifact. Alex used the scepter to scan historical records, searching for information on the specific materials they needed. Corvus, his presence a constant reminder of the stakes, provided details on the black market's location and security measures. Finally, the day of infiltration arrived. Isabella presented them with a shimmering orb, a near-perfect replica of the Umbra artifact. The magic crackled faintly within it, a testament to her ingenuity. "It's not perfect," she warned, "but it should be enough to create a diversion." Alex hefted the scepter, its weight reassuring in his hand. Anya, clad in dark clothing and a hooded cloak, looked surprisingly at ease. Corvus, his cloak pulled even lower, seemed almost spectral in the dim light. "Ready?" Alex asked, his voice tight. Anya nodded, her eyes gleaming with a newfound determination. For a fractured world, they slipped out into the night, a ragtag group united against a common enemy. Corvus led them through the city's underbelly, a labyrinth of narrow alleys and hidden passages. They reached the black market, a cacophony of hushed whispers and bartering over shadow wares. Using Corvus's insider knowledge, they navigated the labyrinthine market, successfully acquiring the rare materials needed for the ritual. But the tension remained thick, the risk of discovery hung heavy in the air. With their mission complete, they escaped the market, adrenaline pulsing through their veins. Back at Isabella's lab, they prepared for the final act. The air crackled with nervous anticipation as they finalized the plan. Tomorrow, they would infiltrate the heart of the enemy's stronghold. Tomorrow, they would face the guardians of the fractured world. Tomorrow, their fate, and the fate of the world itself, would hang in the balance. Episode 33, Fractured Infiltration. The night was inky black, the perfect cloak for their daring mission. Alex, Isabella, and Anya, disguised in dark cloaks procured from the black market, followed Corvus through a maze of twisting streets towards the imposing silhouette of the Umbra Temple. The air grew thick with a strange energy as they neared the temple, a sense of warped magic that prickled at Alex's skin. Corvus, his face concealed by the hood, pointed towards a hidden gateway nestled between towering buttresses. "The server's entrance," he rasped, his voice barely a whisper. "It leads to the lower levels, away from patrolling guards." With a silent nod, they slipped through the gateway, the sounds of the bustling city fading behind them. The air here was stale and damp, smelling of stone and forgotten rituals. Their path was illuminated only by a single glowing orb, a modified version of Isabella's invention. They navigated a network of damp corridors, the silence broken only by the rhythmic tapping of their footsteps. Corvus, surprisingly agile despite his cloaked figure, led them with an unnerving familiarity with the temple's layout. Suddenly, A chilling groan echoed through the tunnels. A monstrous automaton, its metallic body gleaming with malevolent runes, lumbered into view, its glowing red eyes locking onto them. Panic surged through Alex. They hadn't anticipated encountering these guardians so early. But there was no turning back. Isabella, ever resourceful, reacted first. She tossed a vial filled with a shimmering liquid towards the automaton. The vial shattered, releasing a cloud of purple smoke that momentarily obscured their forms. The smoke provided a precious window of opportunity. Anya, drawing on her knowledge of forgotten rituals, chanted a disarming spell in an arcane language. The air crackled with energy, and the automaton faltered, its movements sluggish and erratic. Using the distraction, they darted past the bewildered automaton, their hearts pounding in their chests. The adrenaline rush masked the growing sense of dread. Every shadow seemed to conceal a hidden danger. After what felt like an eternity, they reached a massive stone door adorned with intricate symbols that pulsed with a faint dark light. This was the entrance to the sanctum, the heart of the temple, and likely the location of the vault. Just as Anya reached out to touch the door, a chilling voice resonated through the cavernous chamber. "Intruders, you dare desecrate these halls." A figure materialized from the shadows, tall and cloaked, with an aura of dark power swirling around them. A high-ranking Umbra mage, their leader. Anya whirled around, eyes blazing with defiance. "We've come to stop you from shattering the world." The mage's lips twisted into a cruel smile. "Too late. The fracture has already begun. You will all witness its glorious unfolding." With a wave of their hand, the mage unleashed a torrent of dark magic. The room exploded with chaotic energy, forcing Alex and his companions back. They were trapped, facing a powerful enemy, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Episode 34, Fractured Harmony. The cavern echoed with the clash of magic. Anya, eyes blazing with righteous fury, parried a volley of dark energy bolts with a shimmering shield formed from the ancient book. Isabella, ever the pragmatist, zipped around the chamber, throwing vials of concocted potions that temporarily disrupted the mage's spells. Alex stood frozen, the scepter heavy in his hand. He wasn't a warrior, he was a scholar, yet here he was, thrust into the heart of a battle that would determine the fate of the world. But the fear was eclipsed by a surge of determination. He wouldn't let his friends face this alone. "There's got to be a way to break through their defenses," he shouted over the din. Anya glanced at him, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "Their power is amplified by the fractured magic coursing through the temple. We need to disrupt it." Isabella, dodging a blast of dark energy, chimed in. "The replica, if we can activate it here." Suddenly, a sickening crack echoed through the chamber. A section of the ceiling crumbled under the strain of the warring spells, showering them with dust and debris. Corvid, who had been struggling to stay hidden in the shadows, stumbled into the open, his cloak torn, revealing a familiar symbol emblazoned on his robes, not the insignia of the Umbra Order, but the Corvid Keepers' crest. "Corvid," Anya gasped, concern flashing in her eyes. The Umbra mage seized the opportunity, unleashing a powerful blast of dark energy towards the weakened Corvid. Anya reacted instinctively, pushing him aside and taking the brunt of the attack. She cried out as the dark energy surged through her, sending her flying across the chamber. Rage-filled Alex, Anya lay groaning on the cold stone floor, her face pale and drawn. He couldn't let her sacrifice be in vain. With a newfound resolve, he raised the scepter, focusing on the replica orb positioned strategically by Isabella. Taking a deep breath, he channeled the scepter's power. A blinding light erupted from the orb, mimicking the pulse of the true artifact sought by the Umbra Order. The mage, momentarily distracted, turned their attention towards the replica. This was their chance. Isabella, seizing the momentary window, activated a sonic device she'd concealed in her sleeve. A high-pitched whine filled the chamber, disrupting the flow of fractured magic. The Umbra mage faltered, their dark spells fizzling and sputtering. The tide was turning. Anya, drawing on her remaining strength, chanted a powerful binding spell from the ancient book. The pulsating energy surrounding the mage flickered and died, revealing a weakened figure beneath the cloak. With a final surge of power from the scepter, Alex channeled a burst of pure energy towards the vault door. The symbol on the door flared, then dissolved, revealing a hidden passage leading deeper into the temple. Their victory was short-lived. The Umbra mage, snarling with fury, lunged towards them, desperate to unleash their last reserves of power. But Corvus, surprisingly agile despite his earlier stumble, intercepted the attack. A brief, brutal struggle ensued, ending with Corvus disarming the mage. Gasping for breath, Corvus pinned the mage to the ground. "You have lost," he rasped, his voice raw with emotion. "The fracture is undone," the mage glared at them with unyielding defiance. "This isn't over, you haven't seen the true power of the Umbra Order." With a defiant snarl, the mage unleashed a blinding flash of light, momentarily disorienting them. When the light faded, the mage was gone, vanished in a plume of black smoke. Relief washed over Alex, a wave of exhaustion following close behind. They had breached the temple, disrupted the fracture, and seemingly captured a high-ranking member of the Umbra Order, but the mage's final words hung heavy in the air, a chilling reminder that their fight was far from over. Ignoring his aching muscles, Alex limped towards Anya, kneeling at her side. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. Anya grimaced, her touch surprisingly strong as she squeezed his hand. "I'll live," she croaked, a faint smile playing on her lips. Together, they stumbled towards the open vault door, Isabella and Corvus flanking them. This was just the beginning. They had a prisoner to interrogate, a hidden vault to explore, and a world to heal. The fractured magic might be subdued, but the battle against the Umbra Order, and their desire to manipulate the world's magic, had only just begun. Episode 35, Fractured Truths. The aftermath of the battle left them battered, but triumphant. Anya, recovering from the Umbra mage's attack, lay swathed in bandages, a grimace on her face, but a spark of defiance still in her eyes. The captured mage, stripped of their dark armor and held within a protective containment field, snarled at them from a corner of the chamber. Corvus, his cloak discarded, revealed a weathered face with a haunted expression. "You've made a grave mistake," the mage hissed, their voice filled with venom. "The world needs to be fractured. The current magic is chaotic, a disease that corrupts." Alex, his hand resting on the scepter, felt a surge of anger. "Fractured," he scoffed, "it would be the end of everything we know." "A necessary end," the mage spat, "to pave the way for a new, purer world." Isabella, ever the pragmatist, stepped forward. "Spare us the lectures, we need answers. Who leads the Order? What are their plans?" The mage met her gaze defiantly, a flicker of something akin to pride crossing their features. "You wouldn't understand. You are all puppets of a flawed system." Their questioning yielded little more. The mage remained tight-lipped, their fanaticism an impenetrable wall. Frustrated, Alex turned to Corvus. "You were an acolyte," he said, his voice curious. "Surely you know more about their inner workings." Corvus looked down at his hands, his brow furrowed in thought. "I did," he admitted, his voice low, "but there were things even acolytes weren't privy to." "The Order is shrouded in secrecy." Anya winced, clutching at her side. "There might be another way," she rasped. "The ancient book, it mentions a ritual. A way to force a confession, to pry secrets from the unwilling mind." Anya's suggestion sent shivers down Alex's spine. The idea of forcing information felt wrong, a violation. But they were desperate. The fate of the world hung in the balance. Isabella, her expression thoughtful, spoke up. "It's a gamble. The ritual could backfire, damage the mind permanently." Anya closed her eyes, her face pale. "We can't risk letting them regroup. We need to know their next move." The weight of the decision pressed down upon them. Was the potential reward worth the potential cost? The silence in the chamber stretched, thick with tension. "All right," Alex finally said, his voice surprisingly firm. "Let's do it. But only if there's a way to minimize the damage." He looked at Isabella, a question hanging in the air. Isabella, ever the inventor, nodded solemnly. "I might be able to modify the ritual," she said. "No guarantees, but I can try." With a heavy heart, they began their preparations. This was a path they didn't want to take, an incursion into the delicate realm of the mind. But with the fate of the world at stake, they had no other choice. As Isabella meticulously adjusted the ancient text, modifying the ritual for minimal harm, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were crossing a line. The next few hours were a blur of chanting, swirling energy, and a chilling display of vulnerability from the captured mage. The modified ritual worked, extracting fragmented pieces of information, locations of hidden umbra cells, whispers of a grand ritual to unleash the ultimate fracture. But the cost was high. The mage, their eyes glazed and vacant, slumped into a near comatose state. A grim silence settled over the group. They had gained knowledge, a tactical advantage in their fight against the Umbra Order, but the victory felt hollow. They had become something akin to the very villains they fought, peering into the unwilling mind and leaving destruction in their wake. Anya, tears welling up in her eyes, gazed at the broken mage. "We did what we had to," she said, her voice barely a whisper. But Alex, his heart heavy, couldn't shake the feeling that they had fractured something within themselves in the process. As they emerged from the temple, the weight of their victory felt like a heavy burden. They had a plan, but the cost of information hung heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of the price they had to pay to protect a fractured world. Episode 36, Fractured Alliances. Days bled into weeks as they grappled with the aftermath of their actions. The captured Umbra Mage remained a broken shell, a constant reminder of the darkness they'd confronted within themselves. Corvus, haunted by the secrets he'd revealed, became an invaluable asset. He helped them decipher the fragmented information gleaned from the ritual, piecing together the locations of hidden Umbra cells and the whispers of a grand ritual to shatter the world's magic core. Isabella, ever the pragmatist, channeled her remorse into action. She tirelessly modified her inventions, creating advanced communication devices and cloaking technology to aid their upcoming infiltration missions. Anya, withdrawn and contemplative, spent hours poring over the ancient book, searching for a way to undo the damage inflicted on the captured mage. But the text offered no solace, only warnings about the dangers of manipulating the mind. Their newfound knowledge came with a heavy price. The once vibrant city felt darker, the shadows seemingly alive with hidden threats. The fragile sense of normalcy vanished, replaced by a constant vigilance. One evening, amidst the tense silence of their makeshift headquarters, a pulsating red light erupted from Isabella's communication device. A frantic voice crackled through the speaker. It was Sarah, a former classmate of Alex and a historian with a knack for unearthing hidden secrets. "Alex, you need to see this." Sarah's voice trembled with urgency. "I found something about the Umbra Order." A hidden prophecy, a spark of hope flickered in Alex's chest. A prophecy could be a key, a way to understand the Order's motives and perhaps even a weakness to exploit. "Where are you?" Alex asked, adrenaline coursing through him. "The old library archives," Sarah whispered, "but I don't think I'm alone." The line went dead, replaced by a faint crackle and a chilling laugh echoing through the device. Fear clenched Alex's stomach. The Umbra Order had found Sarah. "We have to go," Anya said, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hand. Their newfound knowledge had come at a great cost, but they couldn't afford to hesitate. Sarah, a friend caught in the crossfire, needed their help. And the prophecy, the hidden key it held, could be their only chance to save the fractured world before it shattered completely. With a shared determination etched on their faces, they grabbed their cloaks and weapons. The fight was far from over. They were heading into a den of darkness, facing not only the Umbra Order, but the weight of their own choices. The battle for the world's magic was about to reach a turning point, and the consequences of their next move would ripple through the very fabric of reality. Episode 37, Fractured Prophecies. The old library archives were a labyrinth of towering shelves and shadowed corners. Dust motes danced in the dim light filtering through grimy windows, casting an eerie glow on the ancient texts lining the walls. Following the faint signal from Sarah's communication device, Alex, Anya, and Corvus navigated the maze of bookshelves, tension crackling in the air. The silence was broken only by the hushed whispers of forgotten knowledge and the occasional creak of aging floorboards. Suddenly, a chilling laughter echoed through the stacks, bouncing off the stone walls. It was the same laugh that had sent a shiver down their spines through Isabella's device. Panic surged through Alex. They were not alone. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a scene straight out of a nightmare. Sarah lay unconscious on the cold stone floor, bound and gagged. A tall, cloaked figure stood over her, their face obscured by a dark hood, a malevolent aura radiating from their form. "Oh, the protectors of the fractured world," the figure rasped, their voice dripping with sarcasm. "Here to steal our secrets." Alex's hand instinctively tightened around the scepter. This was likely a high-ranking Umbra acolyte, a formidable opponent. But they couldn't back down, they had to protect Sarah and recover the prophecy. "Let her go," Anya demanded, her voice a low growl. "And tell us what you've done to the archives." The acolyte tilted their head, a deranged glint in their unseen eyes. "We've merely accelerated the inevitable," they cackled. "The fracture cannot be stopped. The world will break, and from the ashes, a new order will rise." With a flick of their wrist, the acolyte unleashed a torrent of dark energy towards them. A desperate battle ensued in the dusty, echoing silence of the archives. Alex, channeling the scepter's power, deflected the magical blasts, while Anya weaved intricate hand gestures, casting defensive spells from the ancient book. Corvus, surprisingly agile despite his age, darted around the perimeter, searching for an opening to flank the acolyte. But the acolyte was a formidable opponent, their movements swift and precise. Just as Alex managed to push back their attack with a concentrated beam of light from the scepter, a sickening crack echoed through the chamber. A section of the bookshelf closest to Sarah gave way, revealing a hidden passage. In the flickering torchlight, they could see scrolls and artifacts cascading down into the dark abyss. "The true prophecy," the acolyte shrieked, a note of triumph in their voice, "lost to your grasping hands." With a final burst of dark energy, the acolyte created a diversion, disappearing into the newly opened passage as quickly as they appeared. Relief and frustration warred within Alex. Sarah was safe, for now, but the prophecy, the potential key to their victory, was seemingly lost. Anya rushed to Sarah's side, gently removing her gag and untying her binds. Sarah, blinking away the cobwebs, looked at them with a mixture of fear and relief. They were searching for something," she stammered. "A scroll about a prophecy." With a heavy heart, Alex explained the destruction of the hidden passage. Despair threatened to engulf him, but a flicker of defiance sparked in Sarah's eyes. "There might be another way," she rasped, her voice weak. "I saw a partial copy of the prophecy, a reference text." In a restricted section, hope flared within Alex. A partial copy might not be the full picture, but it could still hold valuable information. With Sarah's help, they navigated the restricted section, the silence broken only by the hurried flipping of ancient pages. Finally, Sarah's hand landed on a dusty scroll. The inscription on its worn surface shimmered faintly, a remnant of the magic used to protect its contents. This was their last chance. They had to decipher the fragmented prophecy to understand the Umbra Order's endgame before the fractured world shattered beyond repair. As they huddled together, the flickering light illuminating their determined faces, they knew their fight had just begun. The fate of the world rested on their ability to unravel the secrets hidden within the incomplete prophecy, a desperate gamble against a fractured future.